we could build community, come out here in the streets and knock doors, make phone calls, send texts, and leave no one behind. And that's what we're going to do again on January 31st in this runoff election. We got 48% of the vote on November 4th. We scared, yes, that's worthy of applause. I had people elected calling me, they were shocked. And I was telling them the whole time what was possible right here. Because I live 5 minutes from here. I know a lot of the community, and I know what's possible here. We know what's possible. And so I just have to seriously extend my gratitude for all of you. Y'all came out, y'all showed up, but we got to do it again. We have to come out. We have to walk harder. We have to do it 3 times harder than we did because we want to send a message. Like I said last time here when I spoke, we want to send a message that we are tired of the divisive politics. We are here to be unified. That we are here to build communities, protect our jobs, protect our kids, and protect those that we love most, and especially our retirees. So, hold on, let me make sure I don't miss any messages. Hold on. Oh, yes. So another thing was the voting locations. And it really pains me and makes me feel extremely angry that the Latino community was unfairly affected by the closing of the location in Northside. And, you know, I was against the over 100 early voting locations that were shut down. And what we realized after seeing the election take place is that we had people waiting 2-3 hours to vote. And it was affected mostly in the Latino community, which we are going to be loud, and we're going to make sure that when we have this Senate seat, that we use it to, you know, bring light these issues that we've been facing. So I just want to make sure I commit that to you, and thank you so much for having my back, because I will always have yours. Thank y'all so much. I appreciate it. Yes, sir. Oh, Taylor for TX.com. Please sign up, donate, but I need the volunteers.
Anybody have a question?
Oh, yeah. Can I take questions?
Yeah. Just a couple. Just a couple.
Just a couple? Okay.
So you have a runoff election. Can you talk about the dates?
Yes. So,
there's a microphone right there.
I'm sorry. So you're in a runoff election. Can you talk about the upcoming dates that people can get out and vote again?
Yes. So the early voting days are January 21st through the 27th. Last day to vote, 31st. Yes.
My name is Araceli Chavez, and I am very excited to see all the candidates that are running our Democratic platform. After the primaries that are coming up, I just want to know, why is it important for you to win first? And why for us to help you against who you're running? Because as far as I know, I watch politics like I watch football, and she's racist as anything. So why is it important for us to help you, and how can we help you?
Absolutely, great question. My opponent is part of the divisiveness we're seeing across this country. A part of someone who wants to divide, conquer, and outspin to win elections. And it's important for a few reasons. The first reason is we can show them that you can outspend us, but you cannot outwork us. We will come out and we will work. And when working people stand together, we can win.
Yeah.
So, and I'll even say this, especially when, to that point, when you look at, in the future, we have a ton of elections coming up in 2026. So, if we can get this win in Texas, which everyone considers a deep red state, and we get a huge Senate seat, there's only 31 senators, and we claim, and we're flipping a seat, then that's going to signal a lot of things. It's going to make national news, by the way. And my opponent is, endorsed by Donald Trump. I hope he gets the message when I get elected. And not only that, that energy transfers, right? And so that win will transfer to the midterms. So we can get more wins for working people. So that's why it's important that we really get everything, because this is going to be the domino that starts everything else. So thank you.
Thank you very much. And we have quite a few speakers this morning, as you can tell. So the next speaker is running for judge of the Texas Court of Criminal Appeals. I'd like to read her resume, but she has been in college longer than I've been alive, okay? She has every degree you can imagine. If I could bring to the table Holly Taylor, what an impressive resume. She's out of Austin, Texas. Let's put her on the appeals court.
Thank you so much. So my name is Holly Taylor, and the court I'm running for is the Texas Court of Criminal Appeals. And I know we have a lot of lawyers in the room and people who practice in legal practices, so you may know this, but there may be some people here who don't. Texas is one of only 2 states in the United States that have 2 Supreme Courts. So what we call the Texas Supreme Court actually only does civil appeals, like lawsuits. The Texas Court of Criminal Appeals, the court I'm running for, is the top court in Texas for all criminal cases and the important constitutional issues that arise in those cases. And I'm going to tell you from my perspective, this is the worst I have seen in my lifetime in terms of the infringement of constitutional rights and liberties that you see all across this state. And I am campaigning all across the state because this is a true statewide race, and I have vowed to go to all 254 counties in Texas with my campaign. And I am seeing an unprecedented level of infringement of constitutional liberties across our state, including incidents that have happened with my own family members. And I am very, very concerned. And this court, the Court of Criminal Appeals, is absolutely critical to protecting those rights and liberties for all of us. Let me tell you a little bit about me. I've spent most of my career in Travis County, Texas, that's Austin, as a prosecutor. Over 17 years as a prosecutor, though I'm a criminal defense attorney now. And during that time as a prosecutor, I prosecuted government corruption. I prosecuted a former congressman by the name of Tom DeLay, that some of you may have heard of, for money laundering. I also prosecuted a lot of violent crime. And I was proud of that work. I was working to keep my community safe and to protect victims from murders, rapes, and child abuse. But over the last 5 years, I've done a lot of work with our Conviction Integrity Unit in Travis County. And that's the part of our office that works to remedy wrongful convictions and investigates claims of actual innocence. And through that work, we do things like DNA testing. We consult scientific experts and we talk to witnesses, sometimes witnesses who never testified at trial that have important information to give us. And through this process, I have truthfully been shocked and dismayed to discover that we have several wrongful convictions in my county. And I was truly very upset to discover that a few of those were cases that I originally prosecuted. In other words, I worked to put these people in prison thinking I was doing the right thing to keep my community safe and to protect victims. But in fact, I found out in the last few years that those people were innocent. And I've worked very hard to make those cases right. But what it revealed to me was transformational. I now understand how flawed our criminal justice system can be and the courage that it is going to take to repair that system. And you probably know that the system is infused with bias and prejudice. And that is something that is a passion of mine, and that is the reason that I am running for the Texas Court of Criminal Appeals. We must have a court and a criminal justice system that treats all of us with dignity and humanity and judges who have the courage to stand up for our constitutional rights and liberties, all of us. So my name again is Holly Taylor, and I'm running for the Texas Court of Criminal Appeals.
Yay, Holly.
Thank you. And all of my social media is at Holly T for Judge. And you can remember that because my father sadly passed away and he used to call me Holly T. So it's at Holly T for Judge if you want to see my social media. Thank you. Are there any questions?
Can you expand a bit about your judicial philosophy, such as, what is that, law and order, or is it more forgiving type of philosophy that you have, or just expand on it?
Sure, absolutely. So I believe that we need to defend, when judges take office, they take an oath. They take an oath to support and defend the Constitution and the rule of law. And that is critical to my heart. And I think we're living in a time where the rule of law is frankly under attack in a lot of ways. So it's critical to me that we defend the Constitution and the rule of law. Also, that we treat everyone who comes before the courts with dignity and humanity, and we respect everyone's constitutional rights. And I believe we are also living in a time where some of our leaders have been very derogatory to certain groups based only on the color of their skin or their religious beliefs or the country that they come from. And I do not support that perspective. In fact, I believe it is illegal and unconstitutional. So I feel very strongly about that. Any other questions? Thank you so much for having me. Holly Taylor for the Court of Criminal Appeals.
The process on how civil law or whatever would get to the appellate court, why it's so important that we have people that represent this community in particular.
Well, absolutely. So the court takes appeals primarily on a discretionary basis because it is the highest court in the state. So not every case makes it to the Court of Criminal Appeals or the Texas Supreme Court. They get to decide which cases they look at, and they get to decide which issues they consider. And it's a very small percentage of cases, so it's really critical that we have people on our two high courts, the Court of Criminal Appeals and the Texas Supreme Court, who understand the critical issues that the court needs to look at. That it's really important to have those perspectives on these two high courts. In addition, on the Court of Criminal Appeals, they do also consider every death penalty case. Those don't go to the Intermediate Court of Appeals, they go directly to the Texas Court of Criminal Appeals. They are the only appeals court in Texas that looks at those cases and the important issues that come up in those cases. They also are the ultimate fact finder on all habeas writs. There are thousands of those each year. And that means that they are the only court looking at most of the claims raised by the over 200,000 incarcerated people in the state of Texas. And when those people say, I should not be here, I am innocent, or I was wrongfully arrested or charged, this is the court that for the most part is looking at those claims. So it's really critical to have people on this court that have the perspective to view all of the people raising those claims fairly.
Thank you very much. Thank you for being with us this morning. And now I have the pleasure of presenting to you a young lady that I've met over the years. And she's an emprendedora, she's a businesswoman, but she's also in the media. Y viene de la tierra de Vicente Fernández. Les presento a Rosana Henares.
Gracias.
La mera mera.
Muchas gracias. ¿Cómo están? I'm from Jalisco, the land of the tequila and mariachis.
Yeah.
And the Miss Universes, right? Because this is the second time that, yeah, so I'm proud of my state and I'm honored to be here. Thank you. I'm a part of the family. I've been going to Dallas and now for work, and I'm blessed because I'm also live in Salt Lake, East Tarrant County. and it's the first time that I participate in something in this event. What can I say about me? I was born and raised in Guadalajara, Jalisco. I had a college degree. My parents divorced when I was 2 years old, but my father retired from the education field. My mom only had an associate degree, but she was the best example that we can ever have. We are 4 girls. We all went to college and had a college degree. We wanted to make the difference. My father wasn't the best father, but in my case, I had a master's degree. I wanted to make the difference in my family. When I left my country, I came to this country with a broken heart because I lost my second son when he was a baby, and I was only 27. So it was something really horrible and terrible in my life. So I left my country and I came here and I met wonderful people, and I got involved in communications. When I left my country, I came to Central Texas, Waco, and then I was working at a gas station. I needed a job. In Mexico, I came with a certificate of a high level of education, but I did not know of people here, so I got a job in a gas station. I was assistant manager. And when I was working there, it was this guy coming every day to buy a coffee, and we started talking, and I was, talking in English and Spanish, and one day he said, "Can I ask you a question? What are you doing here?" And I said, "What do you mean? I'm working." He said, "Yeah, but you're bilingual, you had a master's degree, and blah, blah, blah. Your situation is different." I said, "I just needed a job." And then he brought me the business card and he said, "Look for me. I'm the director of the only Spanish radio station here in Waco." And I said, "Okay." And he said, "It's a regional Mexican format." And I said, "Well, I only listen to Maná, Julio, Ricky Martin, And then he said, "Well, I encourage you to listen to the station. I would love for you to come." And I said, "Okay." So it was kind of exciting. And one day I called the station and they invited me to participate in a DJ for one day. He invited like 30 people and I was a winner. He made me sing the radio and we had so much fun. He used to have a morning show called Mañanero. And so then my dream started there because I always wanted to be in communications in Mexico, but since I had to pay for my school, I couldn't afford to go to the private university because the communications, it was only in the private university in my hometown. And I went to the state university, but it was not really expensive. But thanks God I had my degree, and then from there I went to work for another station, and then I was doing TV when Telemundo 26 was, started in Waco, Texas, back in 2001. And so I did all the commercials for them, and then I got involved in media somehow in Northwest Texas. I know somebody that is here from Stephenville that I met 20-something years ago, Diane Rodriguez. Good to see you. She knows me when I came to Stephenville, and I'm happy to see you here. Well, I've been publishing a newspaper, thanks God. I got involved with the beautiful people from Stephenville, and I was working for them and with them. And I keep printing the newspaper. It's called Tex-Mex Noticias, or Tex-Mex News. It's a Spanish newspaper. I've been very blessed that we continue printing the newspaper. But I'm also host a talk show where I do interviews to community leaders, politics, business people, and for a digital TV channel that we are reaching up to, they say like 350,000 already. It's called ValavisionTV.com. So we had a formal studio here in Tarrant County, in Hearst. So we bring people and the show is called La Patrona Show. So I would love for, someone to come to the studio to be my next guest. I know I have a lot of good stories from all the people here because I'm a storyteller. And you can find my newspaper online. My website is www.texmex-newspaper.com. And we have up to 50,000 followers on Facebook only. So we're growing and I feel honored to be here. Let me know how can I help you. You can be my next guest for La Patrona Show at ValavisionTV.com. My name is Rosana Nares. It was nice talking to you all, meeting you all, and let me know how can I help you. Thank you.
Pregunta. Anybody have a question? Anybody want to be in the program? She does has an excellent program where she interviews people throughout the community, so I think she does an admirable job.
Son mis meros moles. Yo nací con el micrófono, no con la mamila. Y me encanta entrevistar a gente con buenas historias, motivar, porque de eso se trata. My newspaper is actually more educational. No como la nota roja, ni que mataron a Juanita y que Pablo y Pedro se acuchillaron. No, that's not what I have in my publication. It's educational, devotional, cooking recipes. Sorry, what is the question? Somebody had a question for me? ¿Alguien quería preguntar algo? No? Dígame.
How can we submit a story pitch?
How can you submit a story? You can send me an email and I read the story and yeah, okay. ¿Cuál es tu pregunta?
La pregunta es, what is the story you're excited to tell next year? Like, what's something that you're looking forward to in 2026?
For
Of a
next
story,
year?
Yeah, for like a goal you have, a story you want to tell.
Ay, ay, ay. This is a good question. I'm always got beautiful stories that maybe my story. Because I came to this country with a broken heart and all the things that I have done. And somebody told me, you gotta write a book. And I said, the best book that you can ever have is your story. It's your real story. So I'm seriously thinking about really the people from the channel told me, you always do interviews for other people. But now somebody needs to interview you because you have something beautiful. So I think it's the time for me too. I'm always been like sharing a story for other people, the great things that they have done. But not everything is pink, No todo es color de rosa. Hemos pasado por cosas bien difíciles. So I want to share and I want to encourage people to go forward and never give up and don't quit. We all have a purpose in life. Okay. Any other question?
Last call. Si no tiene pelos en la lengua esta mujer. We have a personality in the crowd that just showed up coming through town. I don't know if you recall Joe Jaworski. You want to come up for a minute and address the crowd? I'll give you a couple of minutes, Joe. The family is outstanding. Texas has always been a supporter of our community. Joe.
Muchas gracias, Don Hector. All right, we got a whole bunch of proud Texas Democrats in this room. Yeah, is that right? And how many of you would like to see a Democrat as your next Attorney General? Señoras y señoras, I am Joe Jaworski. I'm a third-generation Texas lawyer. I'm a former mayor of Galveston. And I'm the grandson of a Texan who prosecuted World War II Nazis and the President of the United States. Mi abuelo, Leon, Jaworski, a Texas lawyer from Waco,
Yep.
served our nation as lead prosecutor at Auschwitz, Dachau, Hadamar, and the Russellheim Death March. And he, in the face of crimes against humanity, brought justice to the world stage. And back here at home, he prosecuted Richard Nixon for his crimes in Watergate. Now, I tell you this because Leon's blood is my blood. So please, Chorizo y Menudo, escúchame cuando yo digo, I am ready, I am unafraid, and I am running to be your Attorney General. Now, I'm running because justice should never be for sale in Texas, and you know it is. And unlike the scoundrel in office right now, that Ken Paxton guy, I will lead with integrity, not indictments. And I will fight the bullies on our behalf, okay? I will fight them, and I will push back against the extreme Trump MAGA agenda. In closing, let me ask for your support, let me ask for your vote. I know the road will not be an easy one, but it will be our road to walk together. So please, let's go out there and show the state, let's show the nation what true democratic leadership looks like. It looks like this. I will never lie to you. I will be unafraid on your behalf. I can't be bought, and I have your back.
That's right.
Adios, señor.
Thank you.
Thank you very
I
much.
know he's on the way through 10 other cities today. The next gentleman that's going to come to speak to us is Gabe Rivas. I happen to know him since he was born. I know his mom very well, and I also knew his dad very well. So, Gabe, why don't you come over and tell us why you're running for this position? I'll tell you what, public service is in this guy's blood. I can tell you that, and the whole family. Gabe, take it away.
Thank you. Like Hector was saying, you know, I say all the time that I was born in LULAC. Both my parents, Representative Terry Mesa and my dad, Gabe Rivas, were both LULAC district directors, LULAC state officers. And so LULAC's a part of my blood because that's where I was raised. That's the environment that I grew up in. Is being in LULAC meetings, being at city council, school board, fighting for the community, and making sure that the people know what's going on and that their voices are heard. Unfortunately, that's something that we don't see very much right now at Commissioner's Court. All right, now that's why I'm running for Tarrant County Commissioner Precinct 2, because this is a continuation of the work that I've done my whole life. This is, once I started being able to be involved, we're starting off in LULAC. I was in LULAC Youth, bringing our state representatives into the high schools and making sure that they are responsible to the students when they're cutting their funding for school education. I went on, worked in political campaigns, worked in community organizing, volunteerism and nonprofits in Arlington, where I was born and raised. I really feel a passion for the community being educated and engaged in their government and the process of their government. Unfortunately, right now we have a Commissioner's Court, which is a majority Republican. We have a 3-2 court right now. And this court, you can tell by any clip of any meeting. I mean, these meetings run for 8 hours because they cut them down from every Tuesday down to once a month. It went down to twice a month, and that was too often for hearing from the people. So now we're down to once a month Commissioner's Court, and they still don't hear the people when they come to speak. We still have Judge Tim O'Hare kicking people out when they express their First Amendment rights in speaking at Commissioner's Court. I think the biggest power that government has is to do good in people's lives, but to do that, we have to have representatives that actually care about the people. The commissioners have a very set guidelines of what it is their defined roles are. Counties being a subset of the state, they pass the county budget, pass the county tax rate, pass the JPS, the Tarrant Hospital District tax rate. But there's so much more that the role of commissioner can do and should be doing if they really care about the people that they represent. So that's why I'm running. I'm running because we need to have more openness and transparency in our government. We need to be able to bring the decisions of the county government to the people that we represent. And we need to be able to bring the people who we represent into the county government. There's so much things that the county does, resources that we have, that people just don't know about because we try to run everything on such a shoestring, skeleton crew budget that we don't reach out to the community. We don't reach out to people to let them know what opportunities they have. You know, we recently, the County Commissioners Court entirely cut the Human Services Department. They said there was some problems with how the administration was working there, that out of $3 million, a third of that was being used for administrating the grants for people to help them with their rental assistance, with their utility bills, and that they thought they could be better handled by a third-party agency. Well, if there's a problem with something in our government, we shouldn't just cut that entire department. We should be able to work to fix these issues. There's a lot of problems that can be solved if we care enough to solve them. If we care enough to work with people to find solutions to these problems. So I'm running because I want to make sure we find the solutions, that we are able to work together to solve the problems that our government has and bring solutions to people. You know, one of the things the county does that Taylor spoke on earlier is the Commissioners Court calls for elections and sets the voting locations. Well, in this last budget cycle, you know, the elections department approved their budget. They passed the budget to be able to run elections for the whole next year. We had an approved amount of funds to have polling locations sufficient for the voters to come out and vote. Well, they used the reason for saving money to cut over 25% of early voting locations and a third of election day locations in this constitutional amendment election because they said, well, there's not enough voter turnout. Well, we knew there was going to be a special election in District 9. We knew that that had a special interest, and there was a lot of interest in the community in voting in this election, and still those locations were cut. I think that especially when it comes to voting, we need to make it more accessible, easier for people to get to, being able to inform people where they are to vote and when the election dates are. I think that's a role of the county government. Our Republicans on board, they say that's not what the county's supposed to be doing. That that's up to the individual people to figure out on their own. Well, if you were looking to vote on November 4th in Taylor's race and you live anywhere in the county, the first thing you Googled was election locations in Tarrant County, and if you popped up the Secretary of State's website, it told you the only place to vote was my elementary school where I went, Atherton Elementary in Southeast Arlington. Well, that can't be the only place to vote. That location got about 100 voters 2 years ago, the last constitutional amendment election. This time, because they had that messed up on the state website, over 900 people tried to vote there. People had to drive over 10 miles because they didn't know any other location. Because our county isn't reaching out to people. Our county isn't caring about people and their needs and meeting them where they are to be able to tell them how we can help, where the election locations are. We have the tools are there on the website, but if you have to dig through a website to find where polling locations are, then you're not communicating with people. So there's just so much more we should be doing to make Tarrant County stronger, to make Tarrant County better. I know, 4 years ago I was campaign manager for Commissioner Lisa Simmons, who is in this seat right now in Precinct 2. And the biggest hurdle we had when we were talking to voters and talking to the residents of Precinct 2 was just telling what a county commissioner is and what a county commissioner does. Well, because of the harm that the Republicans in this new court, Kimball Harris court, have done, people know more now what a county commissioner does, but it's for a negative reason. Because we're constantly hearing these horrible headlines about deaths in the county jail, about denial of First Amendment rights in the county, in the Commissioner's Court. We're hearing about it more and more, and so people know more, but they see the harm that the county is doing. And that shouldn't be the headlines that Tarrant County is making. That shouldn't be the headlines we're known about statewide and countywide, and countrywide. It's for the harm that Tarrant County does. We've heard a lot about how so goes Tarrant County, so goes the state. And so goes the state, so goes the country. Well, that's true. We were hearing that from Democrats and Republicans, sometimes more Republicans, because they're scared about the harm they're doing having an effect and that they'll be voted out. And that's the reason why this last June, they tried to rig the game by gerrymandering our county commissioner seats. They especially did that to south part of Tarrant County. There was a little bit of moving around north. We don't normally do mid-decade redistricting. This is something that is not normal, not usual, and should not be fair. It was a racial gerrymandering where they broke apart communities, chopped up precincts, and packed them all into one, so that hopefully they would only have to have one Democratic Commissioner's Court to worry about. Well, there's a lot of people that, regardless of party, regardless of race, don't like being messed with. They don't like political backroom deals. They don't like political games, especially when it comes to people's lives. And that's a lot of what Commissioner's Court has to do with, is these decisions affect people's lives, sometimes life or death. And so, I'm not running for any political games. I think this is something that matters to people, and I want to make sure people know how much it matters. We need to be able to have an effective, open, transparent kind of government that people can trust, that people have access to, and that reaches out to them, because people, we have our own lives. We're trying to get by. Especially people in Tarrant County, there's a lot of people that are just trying to get by and don't have the time, energy to show up at Commissioner's Court 10 a.m. on one Tuesday a month to tell their county government what their needs are and how we need to be helping them. So, the county needs to reach out more. We need to be more open. We need to be more transparent, and we need to be able to be a force of good in people's lives. My name is Gabe Rivas. GabeRivasForTarrant.com. Follow me on social media. Follow my campaign. I'll put some flyers on the tables. I have some meet and greets coming up across Precinct 2. Precinct 2 includes a majority of Arlington, all of Mansfield, Kennedale, Antigua, Delaware, and Gardens, as well as the Tarrant County parts of Burleson, Crowley, South Fort Worth, subsections in Benbrook and Edgewood Village. So I'd love for you to follow my campaign. I'd love for you to donate, get involved, because it's going to take all of us to fight the harm that is being done to our communities, to fight the harm that is being done to our electoral systems, the harm that's being done to our healthcare systems, and the harm that's being done to Latinos and our Black and brown communities. So thank you so much for having me today. I'd love to answer any questions if you have them. Bye.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Joanna Cardoza. I'm the current LULAC District Director. I really want to ask everyone to please be respectful. I do have a question for you. But I want to ask everyone to please be respectful of the speakers that are invited to this meeting, because it's very difficult for people that are here that are really interested in listening to the speakers that come to these meetings too. We can't hear when y'all are talking. And I understand you're going to have conversations, but please keep it to a whisper, because it's very disrespectful to them. They're very busy and they make time to come here to talk to y'all. Les pido que por favor sean más respetuosos con la gente que viene aquí a hablar, porque es muy respetuoso cuando vienen ellos toman mucho tiempo de su día para venir a hablar con nosotros, y es muy respetuoso cuando nosotros estamos hablando y no se puede oír lo que están diciendo. So, por favor sean más respetuosos. Please be more respectful. Thank you. Okay, so my question to you is, can you talk about, I don't think I heard you talking about the Tarrant County deaths, and I think that's very important to our Black and brown communities. And also, I'm very concerned about the way Tim O'Hare kicks people out. I saw that he kicked out, is it Pastor Kirkland?
Bishop Kirkland,
Bishop
yes.
Kirkland this week. But one thing, I actually I live in Arlington, but I got redistricted out of 2 to 1. So I'm affected as well. But one thing that I really love about Elisa is she asks questions about how certain policies affect the undocumented. Can you talk about the Tarrant County deaths and a little bit of what O'Hare is doing in regards to freedom of speech?
Well, absolutely. I touched, I think, a little bit on it, but thank you for giving me the opportunity to talk more. Think about the Tarrant County Justice, talking about the Tarrant County Jail, right? Yeah, since our current Sheriff Rayburn took office in 2017, we were approaching 80 deaths so far in the Tarrant County Jail, which we're the 3rd largest county in this state. Sometimes people will pass away from overdose or something, but not at that level. This level of death is on par with like Harris County, which is twice our size. And some of those overdoses happen 6 months into some person's term in the county jail. And for the most part, people that go into our county jail are pre-trial. They're awaiting trial. They've been set a bond that they can't pay. Sometimes people can't pay a bond no matter what the amount is. Whether they set a $20 bond, they're not going to be able to pay it if they're homeless, if they don't have access to any funds. So because people can't afford to be bailed out, like Sheriff Wayburn's son when he was arrested, they're facing death in our jail. We call them, they're in our custody. Well, if a person is in our custody, whether they're pre-trial, they're guilty, innocent, no matter what, that makes us their custodians and us responsible for their care. There's a lot of reasons why, a lot of opportunities and solutions we can have to reduce the jail deaths. Partially, there's people that just don't belong in jail. They need to be bailed out. They need to be able to put an ankle monitor on, community supervision, and await the trial, not sitting in the jail cell. There's other people that need to be getting mental health treatment. People that have addiction that need to be seeing an addiction therapist. People that need to be somewhere else other than just locked behind bars. Reducing the jail population would help on the strain of being able to oversee our amount of inmates. We always in the summer have a spike in our jail population. This last summer we hit over 85% capacity. We don't have the room to just continually hold people indefinitely in our county jail, and that amount of strain on our JPS staff that's in there, our MHMR staff, is going to continue to lead to more deaths if we don't alleviate that problem. That's another place where we need to have people in power that care, and that's something that's a role that the Commissioners Court can do if they care enough about it. And thanks to, like I said, Elise Simmons has been asking the right questions, asking about use of force policies, asking hard questions of Sheriff Wayburn about why is this happening. But Sheriff Wayburn doesn't come to court when he's asked. We need to seek him out and make him accountable to us when we have these questions. And then, like you were saying, there's also this decorum issue where we passed a decorum policy which basically gives O'Hare a throne to rule who he likes and doesn't like and whether he can speak or not speak. When you're given your 3 minutes, you sign up. It's not an easy process anymore. It used to be you could show up at court just anytime before 10 a.m. on Tuesday and sign up to speak on any of the issues. Now you have to register only online at 5 p.m. the day before, or else you're not allowed to speak at court. And now people who were able to navigate this labyrinth of a process get up there and using their 3 minutes of time that they're allowed to speak, having any kind of criticism of the court or O'Hare himself, get tossed out, like Bishop Early was maybe 2 seconds into his comments when he was tossed out for no reason. So I think we need to change the decorum policy where it's not entirely 100% up to Judge O'Hare whether someone he likes or doesn't like gets to speak, because we need to have people be able to speak in court. People we need to be welcome in court.
Thank you so much this morning. And I have not recognized Terry Resnick, his mother, who is a state rep with the police state. You did a good job, Mom. You did a good job, Mom. Thank you for being with us today.
I'd like him to
If
tell
there's
about
any other elected official that we overlooked, we'd like to. Are you supporting him incidentally?
Yes, I endorse it.
Okay, I want to know. Sure. For the record.
Since this is a LULAC Chorizo Menudo breakfast, I would like for him to tell about his connection with LULAC and what positions he's holding.
Oh, absolutely. I've been as far as for local council president all the way up to the LULAC state board. I was as a high school student the state director for youth, and then once I graduated, continued on in leadership roles in LULAC as the deputy state director for youth. One of our biggest parts of LULAC is the educational attainment of the Latino community, in addition to our political power and our civil rights. And so those are things that I always want to make sure that our youth, whether I was one with a couple of my other peers in high school or out of UTA, the Young Adult Council, or past that, mentoring young Latinos coming up through our school system, is to make sure that we have them the opportunities that I had as well. And so I've been in LULAC since I was born. Been to those are my summer vacations, is going to LULAC conventions. And so we need to have a Tarrant County that we're going to be proud of when LULAC comes here next year. So I'm looking forward to continuing my service with LULAC, continuing my service that I've done in the community, with continuing the work that I've been doing in the county as commissioner. Thank y'all for having me.
There's no choice about it. I saw this guy in diapers at our LULAC meetings, okay? Look like he's become a man, educated, and I'm running for public service. Good job. Good job, Mom. my pleasure to recognize Rodney Lee, who's running for Justice of the Peace, District 4.
I'm going to speak for him.
Okay. Welcome on board.
All right, good morning. Good morning, guys. Or should I say, buenos dias, señores and señoritas. First, I'm here to serve two purposes. First, I'm going to speak briefly to introduce Rodney Lee. Rodney Lee is running for JP as Justice of the Peace for Precinct 4. But just a little bit about who Rodney Lee is. Rodney Lee has spent nearly 30 years serving in the judicial community. You know, working with probation officers, been a probation officer. Sorry, can you hear me now? I'm sorry, I apologize. Rodney Lee has been working in the judicial system for more than almost 30 years now. Not only has he been working in the judicial system, he's also served as a professor for Tarrant County Community College and a minister. But one of the things I would say Rodney Lee is most precious about, most concerned about, and one of his biggest driving things is bringing integrity and justice back to the courtroom. As we've all seen over the last few years, our courtrooms are filled with corruption and a lot of bias. And so with Rodney bringing 30 years of experience plus to the courtrooms as a justice of the peace of Precinct 4, he will truly restore that justice and that dignity back to Precinct 4. So I want to say thank you guys for at least allowing me to speak for Rodney Lee for just a moment. Now, if you have any specific questions for Rodney Lee, I can try my best to answer them before I dive into speaking for myself. Are there any preguntas?
Can you talk about where his district is?
All right, so Rodney Lee, Precinct 4 falls. Rodney Lee's district, Precinct 4 falls under District 12, which is what I'm running for Congress for, District 12. But Precinct 4 is like Saginaw, White Settlement, Hazlitt, and Azel. Those are the areas that fall under Precinct 4. I know there's been some changes with the redistricting, but from what I can recall, it didn't shift it too much for Rodney. Does that answer your question? All right, guys. Okay, now, for those of you that I have not already met, my name is Dr. Kenneth Morgan Aguilera, and I'm running for Congress. I'm running for Congress here in Texas 12th Congressional District. And just to give you a little bit about who I am, I've spent the last 25 years of my career serving the community. Not only am I a veteran, I've served 12 years in the United States Army, and I have served as the executive director and hospital administrator running places like MD Anderson and Memorial Hermann Hospital. So I bring a very special set of skills to the table when it comes to being a United States congressman. So being a United States congressman. Okay, and being a congressman, like I said, guys, it requires some special skills and special interests. So not only, like I said, do I bring that special skill and special interest and special handset, I understand the community. Because I'm someone within this community who grew up. You know, my mother had 7 children, and she also took care of one of my disabled uncles. And we grew up poor because at 13, my mother was married off and having children. So I grew up very poor in the projects, depending on the system that was broken, which was welfare, food stamps, etc. But I didn't allow that system, nor did my mother allow that system to break us down. She set a standard, she set a goal, and she set the ball extremely high. So my mother went back to school, got a degree, and became a nurse, and moved her children out of the projects. Now, I said that to say, the problem we have in today's community and society is that the people in Washington seem to forget that we sent them there to represent us and look out for us and what our interests and concerns are. But they get to Washington and they forget us and they suddenly become rich. I'm going to use Marjorie Taylor Greene as an example. Marjorie got to Washington with a net worth of $700,000. And within 5 years, she has flipped her net worth to more than $25 million. Now you tell me, how is that possible, or help that make sense to me? Because it clearly shows that her aligned principles were on with getting herself rich, and that's the problem. We need people in Washington that understands us, the everyday working class families across North America, specifically here in Texas and in District 12. Now, I said that to say, guys, I bring something special. Currently, I am the executive director for a healthcare nonprofit organization in which I predominantly take care of my Latino, Hispanic, my Black, and Brown communities. And in these communities, individuals that do not have health insurance, they cannot afford to be seen by a doctor, or they're afraid, because of the current day and time of ICE, to be seen at a traditional place or a traditional hospital or a clinic. So my clinic provides care to most of them free of charge. Now, you ask, what am I passionate about? There are a few things on the ticket that I'm very passionate about. One of those things is health care. I believe that because of the amount of money that we're paying here in Texas, we should have a universal health care system, okay, guys? We should not be having to worry about paying anywhere from $300 to $1,000 a month for health care insurance, and we're paying more than $7.9 trillion annually in federal taxes. So one of the first things I intend to pass and introduce into legislation is a bill that will provide universal health care across the board to all people in North America. No, that does not mean new taxes, guys, because we don't have to do that. Right now, annually, our federal government is paying more than $3.4 trillion a year in medical expenses for the uninsured and the underinsured. So if you take that information and you can convert that into a universal policy for everybody across North America, in which they would have health insurance without any additional cost. Because you've seen your paychecks, and you guys know every week or every 2 weeks, you get slammed in your checks for taxes. You're getting slammed at the stores. You got to buy groceries, household supplies, and different things that you need. Enough is enough, because we're trying to live and survive, and we can't when the government is pimping us out and taking most of our paychecks. I'm also fighting for affordable living wages and affordable living wages and affordable housing. We have watched inflation since Trump has hit office, and unfortunately, Greg Goldman hasn't done a damn thing to make sure that we are getting what we need, because they're too busy destroying us and our community. Well, I'm advocating, and I have also posted on my website policies on how I intend to change the minimum wage currently from $7.25 an hour up to that of $20 an hour. Because how can we be expected to support our families if we're making $7.25 an hour? It's not possible, guys, at all. So I have implemented a plan, and if you go to my website, which is www.pendingforcongress2026.com, you will notice I have posted 4 policies there. One is how I intend to implement a higher wage across Texas, but not only in Texas. Being Congress, guys, that policy will follow everywhere in the U.S., not just Texas. It will set a standard in a state. But I have posted my plan to increase the minimum wage from $7.25 to $20 an hour over the next 2 years. I also posted my universal health care plan, which is a 2-tiered health care system that will provide health care for everyone with no additional cost. That plan would include your mental health, your well-being, prescription costs. It's going to be a comprehensive medical plan. Now, if you decide that you do not want the HMO standard universal plan, you or your employer can opt in and choose the PPO plan that will allow you an open access, much like a PPO, where you can go to different hospitals, different other healthcare organizations. So it's not going to be some high extreme cost, but those costs for the PPO will be carried by either you or your employer. But the HMO-based universal plan is fully funded and guaranteed to the government for the plan to produce. Now, I've also produced a plan and policy for universal health, for universal education, and universal child care. Because guys, how can we expect our mothers, our fathers, and our families who are at work to support the family if the majority of the income is being spent on child care? That's a joke. If you got kids here, you know child care is about $400 or $500 a week. Now, if you make the minimum wage of $7.25 an hour, how the hell can you support your family? How can you put kids in daycare and pay rent and utilities and other expenses? You simply cannot. So if countries like Mexico, I can tell you they do it, Canada, Australia provide these type of universal health care, universal child care plans, then we can do the same. So these are all very sensitive issues to me, and they're very near and dear in my heart. And first and foremost, guys, as you heard, my last name is Aguilera. So I have family like a lot of guys, Latino and Hispanic, and since Trump is in office, they're having to duck and dodge, and they're afraid of ICE. And I intend to introduce legislation to make sure that my family and my friends have a clear path to a green card or residency that is not tarnished by Trump trying to get rich. So, with that being said, guys, I think I pretty much covered a lot. I don't want to take too much time because there are a lot of other guys here, but I want to say, guys, I am passionate about what I'm doing. And if you want more information, I am available. I have my website, which is pendingforcongress2026.com, and you guys can find me just about any time. Any questions for me? What?
Hey, good morning, everybody. Good morning.
Good morning, man.
Okay, so I don't have a question, but I do have a quick comment, real fast, just to kind of piggyback off you, if that's okay. Okay, so my name is Crystal. I am the program manager, project manager for Latino. unfortunately, he could not be here, so I'm also standing in place along with Dr. Kenneth. So I just want to make this one quick statement, and y'all can judge me, and that's fine. I don't care. So this is my first time having anything to do with political affiliation outside of the fact that I'm prior military myself. Go Navy. Okay?
Yeah, go Navy.
So listen to what I'm saying, and please don't take it personal, but you can take it personal because you should. I'm extremely disappointed because I've been to several of these events. To walk into a room, right, where there are people that are here that clearly want votes. You need voters. You want us to leave this room, go speak to other people, and have them to vote for you, but you won't even say hello in this room. That's significant. And it says a lot about those that want the votes. So in a democracy, in this room, I don't care what precinct you're with, right? I don't care what you're running for, what office it is that you're running for. Y'all, we've got to come together.
Yeah.
We need each other. You can't change out there if you can't change in here. That's significant. So, thank you. I'm just genuine about that. So, if we don't have genuine dialogue and honest being able to say, hey baby, how are you? Good morning. If we can't have that, you can't expect the voters. We need them. I want to be able to take every single person sitting there representing whatever precinct is. I want to take your message out there because you need them. I mean, help us be clear. You need me. Every vote counts. So I just want to say, y'all, we've got to come together. That's important. That's significant. Say hello. You don't have to like that person, but you're going to need them. Say hello.
That's right.
It's just that serious. We have an orange guy in the White House that is killing America right now.
Yeah.
We have got to change that. And again, if we can't change this, we can't expect that to change.
That's right.
So it starts with us. In here, in this room, I support Rodney Lee, I support Taylor. I love all of y'all, I love everybody in this room, even if I have no idea who you are. And yes, we do need donations because we need the money in order for things to change. That's it.
Any other questions? Not statement. Any questions? Thank you very much, Doctor. Thank you for being with us this morning. It's my pleasure to welcome to the podium Angela Heli Rodriguez Pillman. I happen to know her aunt very well and her grandma very well. So welcome on board.
Thank you so much. Hey everyone, and I want to thank you so much, ma'am, for bringing that to attention. You know, being out knocking doors and speaking to people is the way we win. And with Taylor's race, that's exactly what we have been doing, is going out, knocking doors, talking to people, because that's how you change it. Social media may seem super important. It's not, and it's not real life, right? So as much as you can be talking to people next door, at your churches, at your elementary schools, all of that, get into the community and be knocking doors. So I'm 100% with what you just said, man. So thank you for bringing that to light. And I also want to thank Dr. Ken as well, because I'm also running for congressional district 12, and we should be so excited that we have so many candidates running, that we have every single race in Texas. I don't know if y'all saw this. Every single race in Texas has a Democrat running now. So thank you, Dr. Ken, for running. And the same thing too, like Nydia here, you know, is also, you know, running in a primary that has also Perla. And both of these women are incredible. Yeah. So it is just huge and such, again, just a testament to all the work that we've been doing in the state the past, you know, years and years. This is built up. So again, so excited to see everybody here and to encourage everyone. So hi, my name is Heli Rodriguez Perlman. My name is Angela on the ballot, but my nickname is Heli. That's how most people know me. But I'm a working mom and an entrepreneur with over a decade of experience working in the Silicon Valley startup scene and also helping small businesses across the country get their customers to come back more often, and again, try to help them compete with some of these bigger corporate companies, right? The small businesses are just the backbone of the United States. And me, just so you know, he mentioned a little bit about my background, but I come from a line of entrepreneurs, activists, and educators. So my dad is from Monterrey, Mexico. He came over here whenever he was young. We were joking one time. I was like, Dad, I was saying that he was undocumented before, and he was like, I wasn't undocumented. I had like 3 or 4 papers saying that I could work here. And so eventually he got his, got his citizenship and whatnot. But he was working as a farm worker at the pecan orchard outside Lincolnville, Texas. So I grew up in Stephenville. It was good to hear a Stephenville, Texas shout out over here. And then my mom worked at Tarleton State University for 30 years, and there's my mom right there. But yeah, so she was an educator in helping students who, again, didn't have people who looked like us in the offices and as their teachers and educators. So again, my mom was an educator, and then my grandmother, like Hector said, her name is Pauline Gasta Valenciano. She was an activist here in town. She got arrested boycotting grapes and lettuce back in the day with my mom, which is crazy. Oh my gosh. I ain't trying to get arrested up here, guys. But anyway, yeah, so I come from a long line of activists, entrepreneurs, and educators, and I'm here to run for Congressional District 12. This used to be Kay Granger's seat. She was in it for 30 years. Craig Goldman just kind of fell into this seat with, they haven't been doing the work. They haven't been knocking doors, talking to people, and hearing the real concerns. And the biggest concerns I'm hearing about is healthcare. Costs of healthcare are out of control. Costs for childcare are out of control. I'm a mom, and I was shoved out of the workforce because of the lack of childcare. So what I'm really fighting for is universal healthcare that's not attached to any employer. Whether you have insurance or not, you're paying too much money. It also hurts small business owners because they can't keep workers because they can't offer their workers health insurance, like retail workers, nail salon workers, hair salon workers, the people who work in restaurants and bars. I used to cocktail waitress to help me pay for college. We need health insurance. We need childcare to help us get back to work. And the way we do this, guys, is we tax the people who are not paying their fair share. We got billionaires in this country that are not paying what they should. We should be giving them wealth taxes. Hey, do whatever you want with the first $10 million you make every year. Buy your yachts, buy your, invest in businesses. Every dollar after that, we're going to take 2 cents off that dollar. Again, wealth taxes can pay for universal health care, universal child care, and also we need to get money out of politics. It is corrupting our system. And again, it may not be overnight that we can do this, but we must change that. Because again, billionaires are the ones who are running our politicians here in Texas, and we're going to change that this year. And again, my name is Heli Rodriguez-Perlman. If you go to helifortexas.com, you can learn more about me. And again, I'm here to answer any questions, give you some, because it's not just those things that matter. There's all these different little pieces, like the situation with ICE right now. It's disgusting what's going on. It's disgusting. And we cannot have this type of thing, Again, I have family members who are scared to speak Spanish, scared to, be out in the world because of this. And so we can't put up with this anymore. We need people who are truly going to fight back and speak truth to power, and that's me. So go to helifortexas.com and help us in whatever way you can. Sign up to volunteer to help us knock doors. And again, thank you so much for having me today, and excited to get to know you guys more. Love to have any questions you guys have.
Any questions? Back to the back. Wait just a second. Microphone, please.
She asked if I have bullet points on my website yet of all the different changes. I'm still updating it right now. So some of y'all may remember me from last cycle. I ran in the Democratic primary for U.S. Senate. So I was one of the 9 candidates on your primary ballot with Colin Allred and Roland Gutierrez and whatnot. So I had all my issues and all the different stuff I was working on. So I'm still updating it. So it's not saying, oh, U.S. Senate, but for Congress this time. So yes, I will have that up very, very soon. So thank you for asking that.
Any other questions? Second, last chance. Thank you very much, Heli.
Yeah, thank you.
Your grandma was a mover and a shaker, I can tell you that. Her name was Pauline, from what I recall.
Pauline, yes.
Anyway, we have another Fort Worth native. Her name is Nidia Cardenas. She's running for Tarrant County Commissioner number 4. And she's a proud product of Fort Worth ISD. She's a candidate for Tarrant County Commissioner. She's the youngest of 4 in a first-generation Mexican-American family. Nidia earned her mechanical engineering degree from Stanford and MBA from the University of Michigan. Not shabby, huh? She spent her career supporting small businesses through the Goldman Sachs and Small Business Program, MBAs across America, and as VP of Customer Service. I bring to you Nidia Cardenas.
Buenos dias, good morning. I'm actually feeling kind of more emotional than I thought I would because, you know, being a candidate is new for me. But part of the feelings is coming from the fact that Northside is where my sense of like civic engagement, and I built my own community when I came here. So my parents, they're both from Coahuila, Mexico, and when they came here, they immediately jumped into building community because they didn't have people, and they learned from their family in Mexico the importance of community. So when they came here, they built a really strong one for us. But it wasn't until, you know, when you're young, you're kind of, your parents' community is your community, right? And when I came to Northside, that's where I really became aware of what it looks like to build community for myself. And I learned that from people like Jacinto and Anita Ramos, who were some of my early mentors, and from being part of the venture crew and doing, you know, volunteering at NICA. So like I'm just, you know, time is not linear. I'm having these like flashbacks to being, you know, 15 years old, and it's making me a little emotional. But I just, you know, I think what's really important right now and why I decided to run is because of the cruelty. I think you guys have spoken to it. Our politics is just very cruel right now at the federal level, and it's you know, we incubate bad policies here in Tarrant County, and then they become state and spread across the country as well. And so I just think when I think about what's important to me, and it's funny because politics feels like this place where it's like you guys have to decide whether you trust me or not with very little information, right? It's like you're gonna have to decide, you know, is this a person who's gonna make the decisions on my community's behalf? And I think my job is to help you see like who I am as a person and sort of what my values are and what I believe. And I'll just share a quick story of who I'm trying to honor and the legacy that I'm trying to live into through my campaign, which is what, you know, my grandmother. So my grandmother, Abuelita Virginia, you know, she was the house when we would go in Mexico that everybody was welcome at. Like, does anybody have that house where it's like, it doesn't matter if you're poor, you're rich, whatever's going on, you can go to that house and that person just holds space, and they'll give you lemonade, they'll give you tea, they'll give you pan, whatever they have, they're gonna give it to you out of like total generosity and love and care. And that was my grandma, and that was her house. And when I think about the spaces that I want to create through the campaign, it's really about that, you know, and that's why we kicked off with the merienda and just people being in community and connecting with each other. And I think that's what we need right now in this time. Like, we need to remember each other's humanity and reconnect to that, so that we know that these policies that are dehumanizing our community are not acceptable, and we're going to be able to fight back together. And so that's really kind of just to tell you a little bit about my values. And I spent the last year going to Commissioner's Court, and what I do, I'm a leadership coach, and I also coach people on disrupting burnout so they can actually show up as their most creative selves. And when I tell you that there's not leadership on that court from O'Hare, from Manny, that is just authority. People who embrace their authority, but they don't have a vision, or their vision is, the vision they do have is very problematic. And so that's also why I'm running, because I believe that we deserve leadership that actually listens to people. We're trying to bring representation back into representative government. Like, I'm supposed to want to know what you have to say because I'm representing you. And instead, they're kicking people out. They're cutting people off. They're limiting our opportunities to speak to them. And then when you do, they're not listening. Like, has anybody here been to Commissioner's Court and spoken? Yeah? Does it look like do they look like they're paying attention to you? Right? They're just doing other things, probably thinking about their, you know, what they're doing for the evening. And so I think it's really, really important to bring that listening back. So I wanted to do a little bit of an exercise, if you guys don't mind, I'm willing to do it with me, of listening to each other, and also to understand what are we all here for. And so this is a little practice that I do where I'm going to give you a question, and just pick a partner, so somebody next to you, a person next to you, and you're gonna share your answer to the question, and I'm just gonna give you 1 minute. But the person who's listening, you cannot interrupt the person who's telling the story, okay? So you're not gonna ask the question, you're not gonna interrupt, and you're gonna answer a different question. So you don't even have to think of what you're gonna answer, okay? So you literally just get to listen to this person's story for 1 minute. Are you guys game to do it? Okay. So for the first question, the first one is going to be to talk about a young person that you're in the fight for. So who is like a young person that you care about their future and you're like, this person is important to me. So tell your neighbor about a young person that you are in the fight for. So go ahead. You guys partner up. Tell a story.
Oh, well, that makes sense. I will help everybody. If you're a good person.
person, you're gonna talk about the person who makes you feel, somebody who makes you feel at home, like what I said with my grandmother. How my grandmother, anybody who came, they just, felt at home. So talk about somebody that makes you feel at home. Okay, so go ahead.
My mom. Yes. I love her too.
Okay. All right, would somebody like to share? Anybody want to share who the young person that you want to share something?
Hello, my name is Ana Chavez, and I'm very encouraged that we have two wonderful Latinas running like Nydia and Perla. I personally like, it's just my own personal opinion, it doesn't matter much, but I'm tired of us being behind. And when Nydia mentioned Jacinto Ramos, I'm going to say something here that some of you might not like, but he's the one that led the privatization of nutrition services. So I don't like that because there was a lot of nutrition services workers that lost their job because of that. I'm endorsing Perla because she has a mission. She's already run. She's helped Tyler. She had 35,000 votes. So I'm really like,
what's your young person?
she's my young person. She's my young person that I respect, and I really respect Nydia too. But this race, we have to bring fire with fire, and Perla has already been. She's working the ground, tilling it. I hope we have more Latino representation, but we need to make sure that we can. Nydia, or if it's Nydia, I'll back Nydia 100%. But if it's Perla, I'll back her 100%. But we just gotta get out the vote, and Perla has been doing that.
Thanks. Yeah, and I think that point about voting is really important. And I think our community, when I think about our community and to win this race, we are going to have to get our community to vote like never before. And I think what's really important is our community, we know how to care for people. I mean, you just talked about, a young person, you just talked about somebody who makes you feel at home. We know how to do that. And I think we just need to help people understand that voting is an extension of caring for your community. That's a way to care for your community. And especially right now, it's really, really important. And we're gonna have to get people who normally don't engage to participate. And I think to do that, we're gonna have to use radically different strategies. And people are gonna have to feel heard, and from my perspective, I feel like that's one of my highest order skills, is I know how to listen really well, and I know how to ask really good questions and solve problems, and I think we have really complex problems right now. And I think in order to navigate those, we're gonna have to be able to take very different perspectives and be able to bring something together that helps solve the problem. So that's part of what I'm doing. Is anybody? Yeah.
My question is, did you go to Fort Worth public schools?
I did, yeah. I went to Worth Heights, Morningside, and Northside High School. Yeah.
Hey, you see that? They're trying to privatize public schools? Give me a break.
Well, we started with a Democrat.
Yeah, and I think, you know, this is actually really, I guess, I'm not sure how deep I can go in this moment. So should I honor the conversation that's being had, or do we need to pivot? I want to be respectful of the space.
Whatever you guys
So,
whatever you say goes.
you know, is it okay to engage? People feel okay doing that? Okay.
Go for it.
So speak art.
Our Tarrant County.
Our Tarrant County. Yeah. Oh, okay, speak art. Okay, yeah. I mean, I think that something else that I'm already just speaking as a candidate, right? That I'm realizing, because again, I didn't plan on running. This wasn't something I thought about like at the beginning of the year. It wasn't, you know, on my life plan. I actually thought I was going to use my skills as a leadership coach, as an energy coach, supporting people in burnout to run, so that we could have candidates run who would not burn out and get tired, because it is, you know, a very crazy experience, I'm already realizing. Right, so I kind of thought that was going to be more of my role. But what I'm seeing already is that there is a lot of complexity in the relationships and the history that people have with each other. And this is, you know, sort of an example of one, right? Where we could have different relationships with the same person, right? Or view people in a different way. And I think it's also, right now, what we need to also be able to do is to have those hard conversations. So I receive and I you know, hear what you have to say. And also I think a lot of times, you know, when we don't have those hard conversations, that ability to like lean into conflict, then it takes us away from being able to actually solve problems. So do I feel like maybe I would have appreciated having that conversation in a different way? Yes, but I think you totally have your right, and I really do think, I mean, I'm in this because I think I can beat Manny. I know, and if I didn't think so, I wouldn't do it, right? And that's who we need to be, is actually Manny. That's who we need to be. And he's from, you know, Easel, so people see him as like a hometown person, but I'm from Fort Worth, and I'm a hometown person, and this place made me, and I'm ready to do whatever comes next to win this seat, because Tarrant County needs leadership that's actually going to protect people, and that's actually going to solve the real problems that we have. So.
Thank you very much. Any other questions? Last chance. No more questions? Let's get your children to follow her path instead of Stanford, okay? And other great schools. Maybe the University of Texas, A&M? We just got to get them to college and become professionals, bottom line. And entrepreneurs. The next speaker that we have is Dr. Williams, and he's a former city councilman. Dr. Williams, come on, get him. Let's welcome him.
Thank you, brother. Good morning, LULAC.
Good morning.
Oh, that's not a fired up kind of good morning. Good morning, LULAC. Good morning. Also, my name is Dr. Jared Williams. What an honor it is to break bread. And let me just pause and just say what a moment that was. It's so important that we have those type of courageous conversations, Nydia, because frankly, our backs are against the wall, and solidarity has never been more important. I'm running also alongside my brother and my friend Jay Rivas for Tarrant County Commissioner Precinct 2. And I am just so honored to be in this space as I typically am. And you know, I believe deeply in what we can build together in this moment. For me, this cycle is about reclaiming our power and doing that in solidarity in a county that is okay with people dying in jail. With a county power that is okay with unlawfully detaining us, okay with stealing our voting rights, our representation, our access to polls, that's okay with exploiting us financially through our property taxes, low wages, and skyrocketing costs for basic necessities like childcare, healthcare, and housing. I grew up here, and I believe that government should care for its people, not sit on the sidelines while we are suffering. I'm the son of 2 working parents. My dad started his career right here on the north side as a public school teacher, teaching at Northside High School. And his only other high school he taught at was South Hills High School. My mom also was a public school teacher. And sitting around the table, I learned values of faith and standing in solidarity as a community and being there for your neighbor. And these lessons really shape who I am today. As a husband, a father of 2 beautiful young babies, as a community organizer, a nonprofit leader at the Latino Food Bank, and also as someone who has had the honor of serving as a 2-term council member. This campaign is not rooted in me, myself, and I. This campaign is all of our campaign. And it's rooted in a participatory type of government. If you go on my website, you will see the first thing you see is we want to hear your priorities, and I want to hear those during the question period as well. But this means, like Nydia said, really starting with listening and creating spaces that the county has long shuttered for folks to be able to share their voice and their concerns and their priorities. And their priorities for how they want to see the county government work. We've been listening a lot on this campaign, and we've heard so many stories about how families are being crushed by the affordability crisis right now. How families are being crushed by the cost of childcare and the cost of healthcare and the cost of an emergency EMS ride and the cost of housing and the cost of property taxes. All while our government is okay with exploiting us and we are working harder and harder for less and less. And this critical moment, I think, is really important because I believe in the power that we have and what could be if we had a county government where we had a ruling majority that actually cared for its people. I do think it's possible in Tarrant County that we can cap property taxes to home price, sales purchase price. I do believe it's possible here in Tarrant County where we can protect workers and increase minimum wage for county workers to $35 an hour. I do believe it's possible that we can have a universal child care system right here in Tarrant County, in a county where it costs $1,500 per month per child for child care. I do think it's possible to make home buying possible and making sure that that we have affordable housing. I do think it's possible that we can ensure affordable and accessible health care right here to our public hospitals, which are being eroded and defunded by the current majority on the county commissioners court. And I do believe it's possible that we can safeguard human dignity in all parts of our government, but especially in our jails where too many people have died in our jails, and they deserve, our neighbors incarcerated deserve human dignity. And as Gabe said, especially so in our county jails. I think this moment is also critical, and it's not one that we can afford to sit on the sidelines. We have to participate in this process because our backs are against the wall, our livelihoods are on the line, and our lives are on the line. And we need leadership that's proven on this county commission court in every single seat and has delivered for our people. When I was on city council, I stood against and blocked policies that harmed and marginalized brown and black communities, including the cruising ordinance. We stood against that and blocked that. I led the effort countywide to establish a 1-second collaborative that was meant to protect black and brown boys who were getting killed by gun violence, and we reduced gun violence by 58% amongst our young boys and our young children. I invested in affordable housing, and we built one of the largest community land trusts in the entire country that is selling homes right here in Fort Worth, Texas at cost. We did secure $1 billion in private investment in housing, affordable housing, and home ownership opportunities. And we also increased minimum wage. I led the minimum wage fight, and we increased minimum wage in 3 years from $10 to $18 an hour, mostly for hardworking mothers, mostly black and brown mothers that work for the city of Fort Worth. we also ended the privatization of the EMS system called MedStar, which failed and killed many people in our community. And we brought it back into the city of Fort Worth, good labor jobs, and also committed to cutting response times and committing to saving more lives than this failed system ever had done.
That's right.
And not only that, we also committed to creating a new public hospital, which is now open and operational, more accessible to folks far south Tarrant County, called the Roy C. Brooks Medical Home. Not only that, we led one of the most inclusive and transparent redistricting processes ever in the state of Texas, contrary to what the county did, stealing our representation. And that fight I led, and I made sure that we had 2 Latino opportunity districts, which was not on the table at the beginning of the redistricting process. But I believed in black-brown solidarity, I still believe in it, and I will fight to the tail to make sure that we're protected. You know, I don't believe that these seats are any of our seats, to be honest. These seats are all of our seats. Let me say that again. This is not Jared Williams' seat. This is not Elisa Simmons. I love Elisa Simmons. I hope she wins judge. I'm going to vote for her for judge. But this is not our seats.
That's right.
These are all of our seats.
That's right.
And we can only, I don't want to do this without you all. Because this government is for the people, it's built by the people, and it should work for the people. And the only way we do that is if the people have access to be able to determine the future of our government and our community.
That's right.
And so I just want to say humbly that what an honor it is to stand in solidarity with an amazing organization like LULAC. These wins are not just Jared Williams wins. These are the wins that we organize together to deliver for our community. And I believe in the power of what's possible when we work together, when we make sure that we get elected officials in the county commissioner's court that are really committed to our community and willing to create a bold vision that has never been realized in Tarrant County before. Are y'all ready to do that?
Yeah.
Oh, come on, that's lukewarm. Are y'all ready to do that? Are y'all ready to do that? We have the opportunity in this moment to take the majority on the county commissioner's court. We have the opportunity in 2030 to redistrict the maps to make sure that we have representation in our community. We have the opportunity in this moment not to just get 3 seats, but to get 4 seats. The judge, precinct 1, precinct 2, and precinct 4. But we cannot do that without y'all. Are y'all ready to do it? When I say fired up, you say ready to go. Are you fired up? 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 Let's do this. Thank you, sis.
And I've been told other things, but someone already knows.
Thank you, sis. Are there any questions? I would love to hear what's important to you, or if you have questions that I can help answer, I'm happy to do that as well. Yes, brother, good to see you again.
Microphone.
Here.
Just real quick, and I'm sure about this of the other candidates as well, but what concrete steps can you take to rein in wage? What concrete steps can you take if you win to rein in wage work?
Yeah, so the question was, what concrete steps can we take to rein in our sheriff? First of all, the county commissioner's court has full authority and oversight over the budget for the sheriff. And I think that there's so many things that we could do to prevent jail deaths in particular. One of that is bail reform, right? There's folks being detained that have not been proven guilty, and they have a right to be able to navigate the system without being harmed and unlawfully detained. So diversion systems also is important. The county commissioner's court has the ability to create diversion programs for mental health care, for housing, for other things that are other than encountering and putting our folks, our neighbors, in a criminal justice system where they're at risk of losing their lives. And so I'm going to be just fully transparent that we're going to do everything that we can, and we're going to do it in solidarity with our community to ensure that not only are we not losing lives in the jail, but we're also ensuring that folks are not encountering a harmful system, and that we're getting them the resources that they actually need to be able to thrive and to live decent lives with dignity.
And since you are in charge of the budget, I guess it's the second part of that question. Sheriff Raymond was here, what, a year ago, or actually several months ago, and he was talking about taking steps or working with Ms. Rayon, and I'm like, you're a local sheriff, what are you doing? So And is it possible to have this budget currently audited or audited as soon as
Absolutely, and when I served on the city council, I was actually one of the first council members ever to call for an audit of the CCPD fund. I served on the audit committee, and so absolutely, I'm more than happy to use the power of auditing to make sure that we're holding all of our elected officials and all of our agencies and departments accountable, and also using our auditing ability to bring back departments like human services. The Human Services Department also provided services that only the county government can provide. For example, utility assistance. Most utility assistance funds had to be passed through the county. And so when we outsourced our Human Services Department, we ended up leaving dollars on the table that could have gone to help people in really hard times to pay for the utility bills. I work at the food bank. And day in and day out, I talk to neighbors, thousands of neighbors each week about the struggles and the challenges. And so we're going to use the auditing power not only to hold our jails accountable, but to make sure that we have a county government that actually works for working people and not crushes them. Good to see you, my friend.
I'm Diane Simons. I'm actually running for Texas House 97. These wonderful individuals are all going to be on the ballot with me. And I got a question. I'm being primary as well, and as we all are, right? And so I have a question for each one of you all, actually. I know it's very important that we stand as one. First of all, we cannot sit there and talk about each other. Again, our personal issues, our family, we cannot do that. Will you pledge today that you will stay on track and only talk about the platform?
100%. For me, 100%. I'll pass the mic around. Dave and I have talked even before both of us announced. We're actually going to schedule coffee together just to stay in touch. Amanda Arizola is also running in this race, and we're working on scheduling coffee as well. We're not running against each other. We're not even running against Tony Tinderholt. We're running to liberate our people. Point blank, period. Point blank, period. And so it's so important that we have these dialogues. It's so important that we have multiple people running in the race because sadly, turnout is too low. Turnout is low in these elections. And the more candidates you have, the more resources that are being put into the campaigns, the better and bigger our grassroots movement is going to be. And ultimately, no matter what happens after March 3rd, all of my resources, if it's not me, all of my resources, my time, talent, and treasure are going into whoever comes out of this primary because we have one goal. Working people like us are being crushed, and we need leadership that's going to be able to deliver that for us. So absolutely, I will only be telling my story. I will only be talking about the things that I've heard from those who submitted input and the neighbors and conversations that we've heard. And we're going to run a campaign that's really focused on the issues that we're hearing.
And absolutely. The most important thing, like as I was saying when I was talking, is that there's too much at stake here. There's too much. This is about people's lives. And so to play politics as if it was a game where we're against each other, we're not against each other. We're in this for the community. We're going to be in this for the fight, for the people, to bring the community into the county. And so I'm absolutely on board with whoever comes out of this primary. I'm going to support the Democrat in this race. If it's me, if it's Jared, if it's Amanda. In Precinct 2, we cannot let that ball Tony Tinderholt either. So that would just be as bad as the Tim O'Hare, Senator Harris, that Krause on the commissioner's board. So I'm absolutely going to run my own race, talking about my issues, talking about the community's issues that I hear from. So I'm on board.
We have one more person that's going to speak on behalf of Araceli Venegas. Perla Bojorquez ran for state rep, I believe.
Yes.
And now she's running for precinct chair.
No.
Precinct.
She's running for county commissioner.
And immediately after her, if there's any announcements anybody wants to make, come to the podium, please. It's been a wonderful breakfast, incidentally.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Araceli Chavez, and I've been coming to these for a long time, and I'm very, very excited because we have wonderful Democratic people running in the primary. I don't take away from anybody. I mean, but we do have our personal endorsements. That's just the way we work. There's nothing wrong with that. I was the president of the House of Democrats, and we did that too. People didn't like it, but whoever's the Democrat at the end, we're gonna vote. I've thrown my hat with Perla Bojares, and the reason I done that is because she was fighting in a real red district where she gained 35,000 votes. She has been precinct chair. If you remember all those, she's part of Indivisible, the group that started the big walkouts, the big No Kings rally. That's why I'm supporting her. She's helped Taylor. She's helped the other person that's running now for 93. She's sitting there helping her. You know, that's what true help is about. Working your district, knocking on doors, getting to know and getting to make relationships. Next week, Perla's gonna work with Indivisible. She's also a paralegal. She's gonna work in saying, know your rights. Because look, I'm afraid if I walk down the street that I'm gonna get picked up because of what I look like. Not only that, they'll probably look at my Facebook. And when I say, "Ay, esta cabrona," you know, but you know, I'm not afraid of them. And we don't need to be afraid of them. So that's why I'm calling and voting for Perla, if I can. And also
Anybody have any questions of her? Okay, I wanna, in particular, Joanne, do you have anything you'd like to report? Joanne is our district director for LULAC, and we're giving her the podium. Woo, Joanne!
That the national convention is going to be in downtown Fort Worth next year. June 17th through the 20th. Opening reception is going to be on the 17th. We do have a committee that's working on the opening reception. FIFA is also going to have a game that night. Most of us will be able to stay in our homes, but if you're looking at getting a hotel, I highly recommend that you book one as soon as possible because the hotel rates are starting to go up. And if you're a LULAC member, I would ask y'all to put a little bit of pressure on National to release the hotels that they have so that we can get a good rate too. So just put on your date, National Convention, June 17th through the 20th. And we are going to be inviting some speakers, and we're also looking for sponsorships. Thank you.
Any other announcements?
Carla, woo!